Hypnosis. We hear it a lot. We hear it in movies, in books, games, and other forms of media. And yes, hentai as well. It's seen as this amazing ability to control other human beings and push them against their will. But how exactly does that work? And if it does work, should you do it? Grab a seat as I start preparing your order. To start with, what exactly is hypnosis? Is it a magic power? A scientific feat? A psychological trick? Well, hypnosis is defined as a social interaction in which one person, designated the subject, responds to suggestions offered by another person, designated the hypnotist, for experiences involving alterations in perception, memory, and voluntary action. Hypnosis is very much real. We're experiencing this right now as hypnosis is used in cognitive neuroscience and clinical therapy, used mostly for trauma patients and those going through psychological impairment. But what does hypnosis do to a subject's brain functions? Studies show that hypnosis results in decreased brain performance due to the reduced connection of both brain and body. Some studies, however, show that hypnosis actually help in improving one's procedural-based sequence learning and suggest that it might be beneficial in making new methods in human skill learning. So, we see how hypnosis is very much beneficial in society. But just as there are benefits, there are also downsides. And a dangerous one at that. There have been cases of mass hypnosis being used for personal and political gain. However, I cannot disclose any of those claims because that's not exactly our topic for today. Instead, we're going to talk about the utilization of hypnosis in hentai. Now, there are a lot of hentai that use hypnosis as its catalyst, but for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about SAIMIN SEISHIDOU GAKUEN and its use of hypnosis, and if you can actually use hypnosis the way that the hentai presents it. Now, right off the bat, we can see that hypnosis doesn't really work the way that it does in hentai. Why? Well, I'll let Vanilla 1.0 explain.
I have this. I read a lot of psychology books. That's not how hypnotism works. You have to start with confusing your victim, not one victim. You have to start confusing the person before you actually start hypnotism. Because it has to be on a subconscious state. You have to trigger the subconscious state. If that doesn't trigger, there's no hypnotism. And the reason why most people don't know that they're hypnotized is because, again, it's subconscious. They're in their altered state. They cannot control.
So yeah, it doesn't work like this. You don't just show the subject a pocket watch and tell them that they're getting sleepy. Studies show that putting force would not put the subject in a trance state as it places more stress on them instead of being relaxed. Telling them that they're sleepy won't make them sleep, but suggesting that they're sleepy would. Instead of "you are getting sleepy," try "you look tired, how about resting for a while?" That usually works. So if you're thinking you can use hypnosis to lure someone to sex, you're gonna have to be creative about it. Not like it even works in real life anyway. But what if it did? What if you could use hypnosis in order to get what you want? Say, you could use hypnosis to lure someone into sex. Should you? Let's say the dilemmas. First, where would the responsibility lie? Would it be with the hypnotist who subconsciously led the subject to sex, or the subject who knowingly gave consent to the act? Actually, how would we know if the intentions were made through consent or not, especially when in the subconscious state? Now, there are different laws regarding hypnosis, but those differ from country to country. Heck, some countries don't have access to hypnosis, and some abuse its utility. So, instead of asking if hypnosis should be used for sexual favors, perhaps we should look at the broader perspective and analyze if hypnosis should be used at all. Which leads us to the second dilemma: authority. If you somehow did have access to hypnosis and were given free rein to practice it to whoever, to whenever, should you? Putting sex out the subject for now. What if you could use hypnosis on a cashier of a jewelry store? You ask him or her, or maybe the manager, if you could have all the jewelry in their stores for free. And using hypnosis, you manage to make them consent and leave no trace behind of your appearance. Not only would that bankrupt the jewelry store and the employees working on it, but if done multiple times, it could lead to massive jewelry economic downfall. Thankfully, this never happens because the police force or the investigative bureaus have their way in tracing hypnosis subjects. Now, here's the scary part though. The investigative bureaus or the police have their ways against hypnosis, but that also means they might also have the means of utilizing hypnosis. So it's not unlikely that higher ups might use hypnosis for their own gain, or worse, shove ideals into its citizens' subconscious. And this leads us to the last dilemma. It's time to talk about the morality of using hypnosis. Now, this is perhaps the scariest dilemma as it does not simply focus on hypnosis, but also in the field of learning. Now, learning isn't exactly as mysterious as hypnosis since we deal with it every day. But what if I told you there was something worse than hypnosis that is linked with learning? Yep, brainwashing. Now, brainwashing is defined as any technique designed to manipulate human thought or action against the desire, will, or knowledge of the individual. And unlike hypnotism, brainwashing is a more direct approach because it not only messes with the subject's subconscious, but might also affect his or her cognitive abilities. Now, this term is commonly associated with politics, and I will not go through that rabbit hole because, as I stated before, that's not our topic. You know what? I should stop this discussion now because it's gonna eventually bring us to the topic, and I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so I started this thought experiment thinking it would lead to answers, but the deeper I went, the more questions arose. I think hypnosis should just stay as an underground term, as if reversible events might occur if it were brought to the limelight. Thankfully, we can still enjoy those effects not in real life, but through materials which offer entertainment, one of which being hentai. Anyway, the order has been served, and well, I'll see you guys next time, I guess. Bye.